Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. Patch 11.15 has gotten a number of changes over the past few weeks, and while it doesn't feature too many class updates, it does feature brand new content, but also a ton of new rewards. For those of you that are solo players, there's going to be an opportunity to not only gear up a character and catch up a bunch of new ults, but also those of you that are big into collecting are about to obtain a variety of new mounts that you will be able to add to your collection. With all of the content, which technically can be done in groups, but also has been retrofitted to be available for solo as well. This gives you an opportunity to work towards a variety of different rewards, which I actually wanted to feature as part of today's video, going over all of the newest mounts that you'll be able to obtain, probably sooner than later, because based on some of the calendars over on the PTR, this thing may be coming out much sooner than anybody has expected for a 0.5 update. So let's go over every single mount that solo players will be able to obtain as part of the 11.15 content. As always, if you guys want to see more regular updates for future content for War Within expansion, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. You know, looking at all the content of 11.15, and it seems like a lot of this content is here to really service the solo player community. A lot of these events, as well as a variety of different open world activities, as well as the limited time events, all can be done by yourself. So it seems like if you're a solo player that loves collectibles, this could be the perfect time for you to get a bunch of new items to add to your catalog. Starting with Dastardly Duos, an event that's going to be made available a little bit after the launch of 11.15. It's going to be a limited time event with a variety of different rewards, and from there you can pick up a mount of Tyrannotort and Albino Turtle. The actual Dastardly Duos event is like a boss rush mode that can be completed solo, as they'll just pair a solo player with a group of party members similar to the dungeon, actually exactly the same as dungeon followers, that will help you compete, to help you tank things, heal things, and will allow you to experience the event all on your own. And the event itself is fantastic for both catch-up gear, a variety of unique rewards, as well as players competing for a high score. And every week within Dastardly Duos, you'll be able to get a brand new reward for completing a quest that's going to rotate once a week. Out of the events so far that I got to do for a couple of quests, because only if you were available at the time, I got myself a Dastardly banner that has the logo of Dastardly Duos, and for the week 2, which was available day 1 as well, I got a winner's podium. And if you hop on the winner's podium, it actually will tell you, I guess this character doesn't have a Discord, but it would normally tell you the high score of a player, and it will rank you with other players based on who has the highest score in the Dastardly Duos event. And there's a variety of these kind of like themed rewards that are going to be made available, and the turtle is going to be one of them. Tyrannotort is likely assumed to be probably the very last week reward for the event, and after you do it however many weeks, I think it's like 6 to 8 weeks, consecutive weeks, it's going to be likely one of the last few rewards that you'll be able to claim from the Dastardly Duos event. And the next two mounts will come from a brand new event of Nightfall, which features a actual event that happens every so often with actual rewards themselves, with Radiant Service Satchels, which features a variety of different currencies, gold, as well as catch-up gear for any of your alt characters, as well as a weekly currency that allows your alts to catch up a little bit of gear. Plus, whenever the big event isn't active, you also have open world events with little incursions here and there, where it's usually Arathi or certain forces of Ashkahet are defending against other Nerubian forces of Ashkahet. And there's two rewards. One of them is going to come from the new Renown reward that's going to be available as part of this update with the new Hollowfall Arathi, not the basic ones, the Flame Radiance Arathi. And as you get to Renown Track 9, you'll be able to get a Radiant Imperial Lynx as a reward from the Quartermaster, which gives you yet another Lynx mount, but it has this time Ivory themed armor to this new faction of the Arathi, which looks pretty good on its own, with the Lynx having a white fur, but also the armor to match it. But there's also another version of this Lynx mount as well, a Void Scarred version. Specifically the Void Scarred Lynx mount, and this one you can get from confiscated cultist bags. As you participate in some of the world events, you'll be able to pick up weekly quests known as Radiant Incursions. And in every single one of those Radiant Incursions, it grants you a confiscated cultist satchel. Most of them usually will contain armor pieces from these cultists. Like out of my recent few bags, I was able to get a helm of the Nightfall Curse Blade, but also a Curse Blade cape. So you have this whole Void Arathi look to it that you can collect. And these are also items that are Warbound, so it's something you can collect in your main and then send it over to your ults via the Warbound bank. And in one of those items, there's a chance to get the mount. From what players have reported on PTR, which, you know, has limited interaction because not everybody's on PTR, but what players have reported is it's not an impossibly low set of odds for you to get the mount, but it's also not a guaranteed mount drop either. It has a decent reward chance. I don't really know exactly how much, but I would assume it's probably very similar to spreading the light Lynx mount that you can get. That one is also not a guaranteed drop, but a decent enough where if you do enough of them, there's a pretty good chance that you are most likely eventually gonna get the mount. So if you have like a small army of ults that could do these radiant incursions, then those chances of you getting the mount only increase higher, which you should probably do them anyway, just for that catch-up gear on any brand new characters. Now, the other event that also brings in new mounts is the return of Horrific Visions, which features a variety of mounts that you can get from achievements, from actual vision runs themselves, secret vision rewards, as well as the vendor as well. And this is also yet another activity that can now be done solo, as they've revamped the visions a little bit. Now when you're about to enter a vision, you can actually, if you're playing solo, can choose an additional companion to bring into a vision, which will kind of function similar to Bran from Delves, but it'll be a little different. The companion has a different set of abilities, but very similar roles. They can either do damage, they can either heal you, they can either protect you, and actually the tank version of this protector, even as a DPS player, is not that bad. It doesn't die nearly as quickly as Bran does, at least in the early testing. I don't know if that'll change, but it actually may be a better tanking companion than Bran. It holds aggro a lot better, and it doesn't fall over nearly as easily. Unless they end up changing it just like Bran, so don't get too comfortable with potentially a viable tanking companion for a DPS counterpart. But from visions, we first have a vendor from these visions. After you get yourself a full set of upgrades from Horrific Visions, from the Hourglass of Horrific Visions, which you're going to want to do anyway. Basically, it takes just a few runs, or really more than that, but it will take you a little bit of time. Let's be honest here. It'll take you a little bit of time to get all of these upgrades little by little, multiple consecutive runs of visions in order to get more of these currency, in order to slot in for all of these upgrades to delve further into deeper parts, more dangerous parts of the vision. So it's something you're going to be doing anyway. But once you have it completely filled out, it's going to be much easier for you to hard farm that currency, delve further into the harder parts of visions, collect a variety of different bonuses, rewards, and all these other items. And then once you have that filled out, then you'll be able to purchase 2 mounts from the vision vendor. We have the Corruption of the Aspects, which is very similar to the Dragonflight mounts, but not quite. I think it's actually closer to one of the mounts that was available during Cataclysm, but then got kind of converted for Dragonflight. But you get yourself a Void Drake mount, but also a returning reward of the Wicked Swarmer, which was available back in BFA, but is making a return back into the vendor. One of them is going to set you back 40,000 mementos, which is a Warbound transferable currency at the very least, and the other is going to be 20,000, along with some of the other transmog pieces that are available on the vendor itself. So you're going to have to budget your currency and potentially farm a bunch of it once visions are available. But I'm pretty sure once the visions are active and once you got all your upgrades, farming them is going to be at least fairly easy. They don't seem to have any kind of lockout, so you can just spam run them until you buy everything you need, unless that changes at some point in the future. From there, we got an assortment of mounts that could drop from either the Vision of Stormwind or Vision of Orgrimar. And as of right now, it hasn't been confirmed exactly how you get these mounts, so it is assumed they're likely drop of the box that you get for the visions at the end of a run. And these may have some secret requirements, like potentially defeating all the elites or finding some secretive within visions themselves. So that hasn't been discovered just yet, but we know that these mounts at the very least do drop from within the vision event, from the Nestling Swarmite, which is another Nerubian looking mount. But also there's an assortment of these Void Forged or Void Scarred versions of mounts, like a Void Forged Stallion from Stormwind, Void Scarred Griffin, also from Stormwind, Void Scarred Packmother from Orgrimar, and Void Scarred Windrider, also from Orgrimar. Then there's also the Voidfire Death Cycle mount, which seems to be a secret reward, or at least a reward that isn't just earned from running visions, but rather you're supposed to collect parts for this mount, like a Void Forged Engine Piston, a Magic Lined Manifold, Twisted Skull Scythe Handlebars, Void Scarred Broadhide, and a variety of other items that you're likely to collect from inside of visions somewhere within. Some of these mounts do seem to be someone that may require potentially connect that to the professions or other players to help you create these items, or something that can be bought on certain secret vendors. So there likely will be a guide on how to unlock these mounts once players do unlock it. It was originally theorized this was going to be a difficulty reward, and it may still be connected to, let's say, running visions on higher difficulties to get some of those unique items, but also using maybe outside open world content to also craft this thing as well. So this is going to be an interesting mount to keep up with, but it does seem like a secret new mount that you will be able to gain from within visions, but also other activities as well. And lastly, from visions, we have the Ny'alothan Shadow Worm, which is a mount awarded from the achievement Mastering the Visions, which requires you to complete the revisited horrific vision achievements listed below for beyond most horrific visions for both Stormwind and Orgrimar, which just means you have to complete all the objectives of the horrific vision in a single visit. That means you gotta delve in as well as do all of the side activities and side areas before you face up against the final boss, which will be made much easier once you get yourself the hourglass visions buffs fully maxed out. It's going to be very doable even as a solo player, and even with just a few updates I already can visit majority of the visions without even getting my upgrades fully maxed out. So I imagine you're going to be able to sit there for almost an eternity once you max out your upgrades. Now, another mount that's also going to be made available in 11.15 is a Void Crystal Panther that comes from the profession of jewel crafting, and players have been able to data mine at least the recipe for the mount, but haven't been able to find it on PTR just yet from what I've been able to see. It is right now assumed that this either drops from Visions, since this seems to be an item that's based on Visions activities, but it may be an item like a recipe that's maybe stocked away in a corner somewhere in the Vision that's really hard to find. Some players have assumed maybe checking out some of the jewel crafting areas for Orgrimar or Stormwind, or possibly go into some of the more void infested, some of the tougher areas of Stormwind and Orgrimar and search for corners there. So this one will likely be found at some point once the visions come out. But if you are somebody who finds it early and you have jewel crafting, very similar to some of the other jewel crafting mounts from Mists of Pandaria, all of those can be sold in the auction house. So if the Void Crystal Panther can also be sold in the auction house, which is very possible since it's a profession-based mount, you might be able to make a little bit of gold on the side with that. Or if anything, maybe this mount could also be sold through work order system as well. So the faster you can get your hands on the recipe for the Void Crystal Panther, the more gold you could potentially make if this mount can then be sold at a later down the line on the auction house if somebody finds the recipe to it first. Now, the rest of the mounts of 11.15 will come from the trading post, and there's a variety of different rewards that'll be made available over time. One of those mounts is a brown furred spiky Bakar, and back in Dragonflight we didn't really get too many opportunities to get Bakar mounts outside of Tyvan. And this guy is very similar to Tyvan, but apparently not quite as large, or doesn't have the same animations as Tyvan, so it's not quite a remake of the same mount, but it does in a way kind of make Tyvan a little bit less unique, because now we have another Bakar that you can get from trading posts. They don't have any info like when this mount will be made available, we just know that it was going to be coming out at some point in the future. Then we also have some Harvest Hog mounts. There's apparently going to be a couple of the different variations of these mounts, one for every season from winter, autumn, summer, as well as spring. Also, no idea when we'll be getting Hedgehog mounts specifically, but at some point in the future they will be coming out to the trading post. Another mount that will be made available on the trading post will be the Reigns of the Spotted Black Riding Goat, which is a Mists of Pandaria looking mount, just with a bit of a different recolor. And the last set of mounts will be a Lava-born Chimera, which are lava-based chimeras, I guess? Very similar to some of the dragon mounts that were available during Warlord's Genre specifically, but they do have a different head, being that of more of like a core hound if anything. And these mounts will come in 4 varieties, from yellow, green, blue, as well as red. But with that, as always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give it a like. I would very much appreciate it. Join our Discord community, probably the best place to discuss any new changes, whether they happen for patch 11.15 or for season 2 content, and this is the best place to discuss with the community. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.